Now let us see next slide. This denotes the DevOps movement with respect to the software development life cycle. If you see in the beginning, waterfall model has been used by IT industry, and later on maybe in between incremental life cycle also has been used under iterations, and then Agile has been introduced it by adopting the iterations methodology. Then later on the lean practices are adopted along with the Agile. Then the continuous integration has been introduced once the Agile practices have become popular in the industry. Then continuous delivery has been defined and designed and executed to deliver more builds continuously to the business, because of the requirements are very small chunks being used in the Agile methodologies, and sprint cycles are very short, like weeks time or week time also. And continuous deployments need to happen when you are planning for continuous delivery. The continuous deployments are done for build deployment in the production. Then continuous operations are being executed by the production team. So this is the overall movement for DevOps. We can consider in high level this through the picture, and we'll see next slide. First of all, what is DevOps? To have a basic understanding. Here in a simple thing, you can see DevOps is an implementation of a set of practices, processes, practices, and culture. So through them we can say, yes, we are working on different processes, different practices, and culture, people culture also, where they change their mindset to work collaboratively with other teams, other team members also. They will be flexible also, and it is also driven through continuous delivery integration of Agile methods. Basically, every DevOps project need to be migrated from Agile concepts, and the people have been educated to keep working on the Agile projects through the continuous delivery process, continuous delivery integration, and continuous deployments, continuous operations also in the production for the new, accepting the new builds, new releases into the production. That kind of mindset people need to be migrated into DevOps practices only. That culture is going to be driven in through the DevOps process. And 3, if you see third point, several advantages of an organization can get with its implementation. Obviously, if people culture is getting changed, they'll have highly professional environment, collaborated environment, understanding environment, knowledge sharing environment, such kind of things. When you have such kind of people, such kind of teams, organization is going to achieve more and more day by day through these practices. So there is a lot of return on investment in future for the organization. Now if you see through this hot diagram, you can see basically practices are there, culture is there. What are those practices? We'll see. One of the practices are monitor everything, whatever is happening in the project. Even small iteration or sprint cycle is there, that need to be identified it, and a continuous monitoring and continuous delivery need to happen it, as we have seen in the earlier slide, DevOps movements slide. Continuous delivery is part of this Agile methodology. Then that need to be practiced it, and automated infrastructure. So first of all, what is infrastructure? You have test environments, you have development environments, you have operations environment like live environment, production environment. Maybe some organizations like major banks or major companies, business companies, they might use pre-production environments also, which is equivalent of live environment, to simulate the scenarios, to identify the real issues appearing in the production also. That kind of infrastructures are available in many organizations. So when you have that kind of environments, what happens? The build engineers need to deploy the builds manually across the platforms, across the environments, for multiple levels of the testing at the same time, for using pilot testing as per the Agile methodologies. And when you have such kind of manual process, the deployment activity is going to take longer time, and during the weekends the activity starts on Friday after lunch hour. I have involved personally in many organizations for many clients. They give the schedule from 4 o'clock on Friday onwards. The schedule is going to be end on Monday early morning 6 o'clock. The people are released from the deployment. So till that time they are supposed to live in the office only, stay in the office only, to set up all that kind of thing also. Production deployment also. Those deployments were purely manual deployments. At the same time, such kind of deployments happened with multiple applications in test environments using manual tasks also. So when you have that kind of activities, everybody is pressurized it, and build engineers are pressurized to deploy, set up the environments. DBAs are pressurized. Then you have sysadmin people also to set up different OSS, such kind of things. So that kind of tasks need to be automated for building the infrastructure. That kind of practice is very much essential in DevOps practices. And continuous integration, obviously we have discussed it. Continuous delivery, when it is required it. Before continuous delivery, you need to plan code integration with the previous builds, previous code files, such kind of things. So next one is automated testing. One of the Agile principles or practices were to automate the previous iteration regression testing area when they are going for second iteration testing purpose. During that testing, the previous regression areas need to be automated. They need to execute the automated scripts only. That is the Agile methodology says, but I don't know how many projects are following continuously. This particular practice has been migrated from that area to DevOps practices as continuous automated testing. You can see in my you can see in my YouTube channel also, I have posted one video for continuous test automation using Agile practices with diagrams. And version control, everything like version control practice is being followed by many developers. I can say 80 to 90% people are following the VCS tools, but that is mandatory here in practices. And when it comes to the culture, people culture, high trustability need to be maintained among the teams, and innovative things need to be applied it, like always new things, new thoughts need to be driven in the mindset of the people. And performance oriented, like whatever task is given, that task need to be delivered on time, without delay, without any further issues. Before they accept the task, they need to understand it so that their performance will be accelerated it. And empowered associates, like always they need to be very positive attitude, and always professionally they need to be there, like knowledge sharing, such kind of thing. And without hiding anything, it need to be clearly expressed it, what they have done, how it was done, what were the issues they faced it, that kind of things also. And reduce variation. Variation is like you worked for one build correctly completely, in another build you are in silent mode, maybe 50% of the performance you have demonstrated it. Such kind of variations should not be there in the work culture. And high cooperation need to be there, like why should I give this information to other people? I have spent this many hours to get this knowledge by googling internet and learning lot of things by sitting late hours. Such kind of attitude should not be there. Then they need to have cooperation to share the knowledge to push forward the delivery cycle. And continuous flow and visibility. Whatever we are doing project, we are monitoring through these practices. Then when it comes to continuous flow and visibility, it happens obviously by using monitoring everything. So continuous flow of the activities, tasks need to be shown under dashboards for a visibility. And lean and agile practices need to be there. Obviously before coming to DevOps movement itself, those were planned it and under practice. And product centric setup should be there within the teams. Like always people need to talk about the product kind of tasks only, features only, such kind of things. And system flow, like system need to be driven with different features, and it need to be incrementally it need to be enhanced the system, software systems, and at the same time the project systems also need to be accelerated with speed, and amplify feedback loops. What are the feedback loops? Like you complete one task, obviously other teams are going to give feedback on that, on the completion. Who people are there within the delivery cycle, everybody can give feedback, and those feedback loops need to be accelerated, because the more feedback loops are there, then obviously it is going to be strengthen the project teams work culture, and acceleration is going to happen it in the productivity. And continuous experimentation need to happen with reference to the innovative things implementation from the work culture. So obviously when you have innovative things, ideas are coming up, continuous experimentation is part of that. Then when it comes to business perspective, business enabling responsiveness will be there, business enabling responsiveness will be there, like whatever you are deploying it into the production, that software should work it, there should not be failure. So when you have such kind of things, obviously you will have more responses from the good responses from the users, and reduce your lead time for changes. Obviously when you have small chunks of that requirements, your number of builds are increased for deployment, you will have less time lead time for making the changes, because in their traditional method, if you want to make changes, requirement size was more, the team size was more, and dependencies were more. All those all are have been changed through the DevOps culture, and those will not reoccur in this kind of projects. That's all about this slide. How we have seen in the hut diagram, how we understood it, practices, culture, how DevOps can be there, how the process can be implemented within the DevOps, and what is the definition. Now we'll move forward to the next slide. So far we have seen what are the issues without having this kind of practices in the IT industry, and we have seen what are the barricades between the teams. We have seen what are the work culture changes required it, what are the practices need to be implemented it. Now this, while following these practices, what are the business benefits one need to think, because obviously this is going to be given advantages to the business ultimately at the day end. Then we need to understand how those people are going to be satisfied with this culture. Point number one, provides faster delivery of features. Obviously we are increasing the continuous delivery integration, and through that delivery deployments are increased it, continuous deployments. Then they'll have lot of features implemented incrementally. Maybe weekly builds also can be there, some day wise builds also can be there in the production when you have more requirements. And second one is facilitates more stable environments, operating environments, because of the practices what we planned it, stable environments are going to be created it. And provides more time available to add further value to business rather than fixing and maintaining in a traditional model. It means the requirement size is very small, team sizes are very small, and with that collaboration is very active always as per the agile methods, agile practices. With that, what happens? Everybody is going to work on the features fixing, product centric teams are there. And fourth one is leads to greater development efficiency with reduced cost. Obviously when you have collaborated teams, technical knowledge is going to be increased through agile methods like daily scrum team meetings and daily stand-up meetings. Through that, what I am doing, what you are doing, what others are doing, every team members activities and tasks are going to be understood by each of us, everybody. So with that knowledge, what happens? Efficiency is going to be increased it, obviously. Then ultimately the project cost is going to reduce it. When the project cost is going to be reduced it, your IT budget can be reduced it also. And fifth one is improve stability, like build stability it can be in the production application stability, and agility, like accelerated small things delivery is happening it by doing continuously, and scalability, application scalability can be increased it because of more deployments are happening it, and quality need to be maintained it. Obviously, when you have followed all these practices, your product quality is going to be increased it, and people efficiency is going to be improved it, and security of the application also is accelerated it, because when they have time, obviously they'll think about the security implementations. When you have more requirements, what happens? They'll think about the requirement fixes only, maintaining them only. They'll not find time to think about security aspects. These all are related with the delivered applications. All these characteristics will be improved it in DevOps culture, DevOps practices, and improves customer experience. Like end user will be having day by day more satisfaction, and you'll be happy to work with the business customers also. That is going to be advantage for the organization. Now let us move to next slide. In this slide, you can see how DevOps organization will look into that when we have these kind of practices. If you see, this is one example I have taken it. One possible DevOps organization structure, if you see, product A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H are there. Multiple products. You take a typical banking site or banking portal, they'll have different products like deposits, credit cards, savings account, like that. Different products are there in each bank, and you take those examples here. So each team is divided into separately product wise by having 6 to 8 teams as per the Agile manifesto principles. And I am practicing, one guy says I am practicing servant management. So let us say you take a typical scrum master role is servant manager, servant leadership role. So that guy says yes, he is practicing servant management practices. So then another guy says I am building leadership for scalability. Obviously the CIO, Chief Information Officer, will be responsible to show the benefit by implementing this kind of culture practices in the infrastructure areas. Obviously he is building leadership for scalability of the organization through DevOps practices. And another guy will say I am focused on product. As the product owners are there, they all are working for the product centric activities, as we have seen in the HUT diagram. With that they'll be focused more and more to satisfy the business customers also. We'll move to next slide. In this slide you can see how the DevOps improves an IT organization culture through these practices. So let us see, I am going through these circles, and from anti-clockwise, like communication is going to be increased it, honesty and openness is going to be increased it, because we have seen in one of the DevOps people practices, high trustability is there. With that what happens? Honesty and openness will be there with the teams, and collaboration is there. That is main activity within the team practices, and trustability is there. That is established it, and embracing failures, like not like in the traditional methods. Always people will work surrounding to the bug fixes. They are working on the new features, fixing. Fixes are very less in this kind of culture, obviously, and no blame among the team members. We have seen, like here, these two teams have different misunderstandings. Due to that, blames were occurring it. That kind of blames are removed it or not found it in this kind of culture. And accountability by each resource, what they are supposed to do, how they are going to do, kind of teamwork, collaboration work is going to happen it. Through that, accountability is there. And grassroots innovation, what are the real issues in the low level wise? Everybody is visible, because we have seen in the HUT diagram, monitoring everything, and you have a continuous flow and visibility is there. Through that you can achieve that. And transparency, obviously transparency will come by having monitoring everything and continuous flow and visibility through that practices. And tools are going to be implemented, because everything we are going to automate it. Testing automation, infrastructure deployment automation, such kind of things. And change is happening for good only. People will feel it, and this is the culture organization will get it ultimately once the DevOps practices are accelerated within the teams. Now we'll see next slide. When you have this kind of practices in picture, we'll see, you will compare what happened earlier, what is now in DevOps practices duration. And before DevOps practice, the development and operations team will have wall of confusion. What is this guy's role? What is that guy's role? They don't have understanding, and non-collaboration will happen. That is the culture. And after DevOps implementation, what happens? These are the characteristics, these are the practices being followed by the team: communication, collaboration, integration. With that, what happens? You have all the understanding within the teams, and you can see operations teams are working on their targets, and development teams are working for their targets. So that's where people are happy, teams are happy during the DevOps implementation and practices acceleration. And obviously organization is going to get more productivity from the people culture also. Next we'll see the DevOps loop cycle. We'll continue this session.